Our next speaker is an amazing lady. Again, I don't know her that long, but her story is absolutely incredible. She's another lady who inspires so many people from her own story. But I'm not going to give too much away because I want her to share her own story with you guys. So I'm just saying, I think that might be Barbara there. Let me see. Ask Barbara to start sharing. So I am going to, without further ado, invite Barbara Byrne to share her story with you guys. So give her a huge, huge clap, and we will see Breda back at the end for more inspiration. I did cancel. Yeah, I did. Okay, so I'm wondering now where Barbara is.
Can you hear me?
Yes, there you are. Brilliant.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. I suppose I'll just start by saying I'm a mammy. I'm a coach, I'm a slim and work consultant, and I'm a mammy to adult girls. What I'd like to speak to you about is courage. And when I think of courage, it took me a long time to realise that that was something that was a quality that I had. When I think of courage, I always think of Brené Brown. She has been a great teacher in helping me to realise that it's okay to be brave and to be vulnerable. And using the word shame, which was something that held me back and I suppose maybe stopped me from speaking my story and getting it out there. And when I think of courage, I looked up different meanings of this on more than one occasion, but I love one that Brené comes up with. You will fail without doubt, but you will rise again. And that really speaks to me. So I'm going to bring you back a little bit. On the 8th of May, 1994, my and my family's life was changed forever. And although I've written a chapter in a book called Voices of Courage, so you can understand why courage is very important, for me, this was about stepping out of my shame. And although I knew my brother did nothing wrong, I still felt he was harshly he was dealt a raw deal, basically. So on the 8th of May, 1994, my brother David was murdered by somebody we knew. Not a family member, but not a stranger. And our lives were turned upside down and shattered, as you can imagine. So although that night was one I'll never forget, it was the aftermath of devastation that it wrought throughout not just my own family, my extended family, our neighbours, our friends, his colleagues. The ripple effect in the community and beyond was just devastating. As the oldest girl, there's only 2 girls, I have 6 brothers, the oldest girl and I was the oldest child left at home at that point. I was with my parents that night as my mother prayed like a mad woman that, as she always said, all I ever asked is that my kids were kept safe. And until I became a mammy, I didn't fully understand that. But unfortunately, it wasn't to be. 3 weeks later, I got married. And a lot of people would say, oh my God, isn't that bizarre? Why on earth did you allow that to happen? I got carried up in what was happening within the family. My biggest concern was looking after my younger brothers and sisters. So that's what I did. I stepped up like I always had since, particularly the twins were born, the last 2 that came along. I was 12. My mom came home from hospital with 2 babies. I got 1 and she got 1. So I became a mammy long before I officially became a mammy. But very soon into being married, I realized I had no idea what it was like to be in a relationship. I had no idea what it was like to have somebody be there for me, by my side, supporting me. And the man who didn't drink, I discovered very soon, was drinking secretly. And that just added to the upset and the turmoil. But I think it was when my second child was born, and I knew the day she was born, there would be no more. It was one of the most lonely, devastating experiences when it should have been one of the happiest, because I knew that day my marriage wouldn't survive. It took me another 6 years to find the strength and the courage to, I didn't leave, but to I suppose, to maybe say that I'm not happy. But a few months earlier, my husband did go in for treatment with the Rutland Centre, and it was a couple of years before that I started to get help for myself. And it was that realization that I deserved better. I didn't think I realized it. I became a bit of a, if you can't beat him, join him kind of person. I ate and I drank to dampen the feelings. I'm seeing some of the comments and they're making me emotional, but I literally, I ate and I drank my way through such a long period of my life. And I was one of these people who every new year, new me, it's going to be different. On the 31st of December 2006, in the cliche of New Year, my husband came home from work moaning about something again. And I just said, this is it. I cannot continue. We have to face, this is not how life should be. I am not happy. And I don't want my daughters to grow up thinking this is what a happy marriage is. So, we proceeded with our so-called New Year's celebrations. When we left the house, basically I left alone with my two children. I went to his parents' house. I told his mom, I'm sorry, I'm not staying. This is what's happening. I went to my parents, and I think it was the first time ever I let people realize what was going on. You see, what I did was I let on to the world that I had this, I didn't say perfect marriage, but that I had a good marriage. I had a nice home. We had nice cars. We went on holidays. So I used material things to hide the crap that I was experiencing. So how did I get to where I'm at today? 10 years ago, it was actually just 10 years ago, 2 weeks, I decided after basically a job that I was in, I was miserable. I seemed to go from one miserable job to another, working for not so nice men, and felt trapped because I was a single mammy trying to pay the mortgage. Went back to work full time. I was always a believer that my mom always believed that I should be at home, whereas I believed I can do it all. But I didn't realize that while doing it all, my emotions were literally falling apart. So what I did was I took a job, a temporary job, because the boss that I was working for just made me feel even more miserable. And it was the best thing I ever did. I was there about 3 months and I finally was able to face looking after me. Back then, Slimming World was very new to Ireland. I joined as a member. All I ever wanted was to be skinny, lose weight. I really believed that if my body changed, that my mind would change too. And I didn't realize just how important that changing my mind was really the key. But that came a little bit later on. I started to lose weight very quickly, very easily, and was quite shocked at the fact that I could do it. And within 6 months, I had an interview to train as a Slimming World consultant. And as they say, 10 years on, the rest is history. I went on to lose the guts of 6 stone, just over 4 stone with Slimming World. I am going to show you my before picture. So you can see there, that was me beforehand. That was at a trip to Florida with my girls, and I was the most miserable. There was a smile on my face, but I can tell you now, I was absolutely miserable. So over time, I realized, oh my God, I have found something I absolutely love. I can help people to change. I can help them to change their lives. And on that journey, what I discovered was that being outside was the key, because out in nature, I found so much solace. I was always somebody who was surrounded by people, surrounded by friends, but I was very miserable. And I think I managed to hide that quite well. I was bubbly Barbara because I wanted to hide it from everybody. But when I went outside, it was actually after my weight loss journey began, I realized maybe there's things I could do that I haven't done before. And I'm a bit of a wagon for the challenges, but I realized I realized when I was outside, what it brought me was calm. And in 2016, I had an opportunity to go and do a week on the Camino with the Marie Keating Foundation. I raised over €3,000 for charity, and my obsession with the Camino began. About a year and a half later, I brought a group of 18, mostly members of my Slim and More groups, with me on a trip, and it's kind of become an annual thing ever since. Last year, I decided I was going back to study to be a life coach because I wanted to take my ability to help people to another level. So not just motivating and inspiring them to change from a weight loss perspective, but I realized that the healthy mind was the key. Since finding We Can and We Will, the things that I've experienced have been absolutely unbelievable. The people that I've met, I am going to mention a couple of them because Stephen Downey introduced me to mindfulness on a different level that I've never experienced before. And I've been doing it every day since, for the last 6 or 7 weeks since he introduced me to a group that practices daily. Amanda I know our challenges didn't come off as we expected, but I was due to take part in my first triathlon next week, and it was to celebrate my brother's 50th birthday. I am not sure yet what I'm going to do to celebrate, but I will be doing something to honor David's memory. I have done things I never thought possible. Walking the Camino, I've run a marathon, my first one at 47 years of age. My coaching business, I had literally just launched my very first walking and mindfulness on the Kerry Camino, and of course COVID hit, but don't worry, it will happen. It absolutely will happen because I have found my passion. But I would like to thank Amanda Delaney, and I'd also like to thank Gabrielle Collins, because both of them have said different things to me over the last couple of months. But I think last night what I heard was really, I suppose, another challenge in some ways, but helped me to open my eyes to embrace overcoming, because I realized how much I decided not to tell my story, or because of fear of judgment and fear of shame. But I've also learned over time that when I do share my story, it helps other people to share theirs and to also be inspired. So I'd just like to read to you just a quote from my story that I shared in a book called Voices of Courage. And actually, I don't even need to read it because it's my quote. You're not too broken, too scarred, or too far gone to change. When you change your thoughts, you can change your world. So I hope that you are inspired to make whatever change is going to help make you happier in your life and in your relationships. I totally relate to what Breda says. It is about finding your awesome. And I can tell you, I'm really ready to embrace and step into mine. So I just want to say thank you very much to everybody for listening. I will read back the comments. I'm going into my Slim and More group at 8 p.m. and I'm probably going to be on an absolute buzz. But thank you to everybody for listening.
Wow, Barbara.
Oh my word, I have all tears in my eyes.
Ian is choking up here beside me. Everybody in the comments is saying they're holding back the tears. You're some woman, you're the real deal. And you know what, this story will go on to inspire, as will you. And I did see that shift in you last night. And you know what, you deserve it all. You deserve it all. You know, we were talking about superpowers, and what I love about Barbara is the no bullshit. Call you out and say it as it is. And
I'm honest.
Which I love about it. And I'm so proud of you, but I'm also sitting here in anticipation to see what's next for you, because I know whatever it is going to be, as in Breda's words, absolutely awesome. There is no average with you, Barbara. There is no average, and you're ready for the sky's the limit. And I so know that the people who come your way from here on in are going to be blessed out of their socks, and they will too see their awesomeness and become all that they can be, because you're a leader. You're leading the way. And I know we spoke about your Kerry trip and stuff, and I think we're going to make that a We Can and We Will trip.
Oh, happy days.
Yes, we can and we will, and together we all achieve more. And I think this lockdown has taught us one thing, and one thing is that I'm very privileged for the tribe that we have here. And I could think of no better way to kick this off and you organising a trip for all of us down to Kerry.
Oh, I'd love that.
Incredible. So thank you for your honesty, your
Thank you,
openness
Barbara,
and
yeah.
sharing. And yeah, those girls are in for a fired up lady this evening.